So I will kick things off. I'm Allison Brown Harris. I'm the CEO of Hardly. Hardly is a career management hub for professionals. We have a variety of services and tools to help you find the perfect job for you faster and easier. And today we're going to go over resume writing with AI. I'm excited to share with you some tools that we have discovered across the internet, as well as share the Hardly AI resume builder with you later on. But first, a little bit about who we are. Like I said, I'm Allison Brown Harris. I'm the CEO. I run sales, marketing, partnerships, design. We're a small startup, so we wear a lot of hats. Roger Harris with us. He's the COO and he built the platform. He's the developer and he also handles product feedback. So after today, if you decide that you want to explore the Hardly AI resume builder tool and you have any feedback for us, we always welcome any positive or negative feedback. And of course, we also have the wonderful Alon Lalong. He's an executive coach. And he helps Hardly members write their resume if you do need a more active coaching touch with your resume alongside the AI resume builder. Today, we're going to have a quick intro. I'm going to talk about resume writing, ATS, and AI resume writers that we have. And then Roger is going to be sharing a demo and Q&A. And Alon's going to be talking about the best practices of resume writing and the overall layout of a good resume. And if you do follow along with the demo today, you will leave this workshop with a jumpstart on your resume. So hopefully that is a motivation for you to get going and get excited about what we're doing in this workshop today. So I'm going to hand it over to Alon to quickly ask some questions, and you can answer any questions in the chat. Alon, it looks like you are muted.
Thank you so much, Allison. Welcome, NJ. I apologized. My computer surprised me and needed a reboot. I was on time, and then I was late. So, NJ, we always just check in with who's attending, and there's 4 questions there. Where are you in your resume journey? You have one, but it needs work. You have a resume, but it needs a lot of work. You have a resume, but you want to start from scratch, or you have a resume already, and you just want to learn a little bit more. And if you'll pop into chat where you are in the resume journey, please. And it's fine if you don't. Okay, so we'll just move along here. So the resume has, oh, okay, you have a resume that needs a little work. Thank you so much for that. So resumes are a combination of really kind of your personal brand profile. They share the most relevant core skills that you will want to highlight for whatever types of jobs you're looking for. They share the background, your job history, and they also will be optimized with ATS keywords, which applicant tracking system keywords. Allison will share a little bit more about that in a minute or two. And they open the doors for getting interviews, and then they're also used as reference points during your interviewing process. People often will refer to your revenue to ask you to share more about what your experience, strengths, and value is. And the next slide, please.
So something that is important to note about the job application process is that your job hunt journey is very similar to the recruiter's journey. You're both making decisions to pursue something new. You're both applying or screening candidates, and you're both going through the interview and the resume writing process. Thinking about the perspective of the HR director, the person on the other side of the table, she's looking at 30 to 50 resumes probably a day for a role if she's not using an ATS and an applicant tracking system that automatically scans resumes. And she's only spending about 6 to 7 seconds on each resume. And that's not that much time. And only about 11% of applicants make it past that 6 to 7 second scan. So it's really important to communicate quickly how you're different. And for the attendees that are here, we're going to do a quick exercise, and you can participate if you want to. You'll have 7 seconds to look at a resume and gather as much information on that resume as you can. And then I'm going to ask you what you see. So ready, set, go. Okay, I actually gave you about 8 seconds, but I might have been counting pretty fast. So what did you see on the resume within those 6 to 7 seconds? Senior software engineer. Yes. Anything else? Great. So you probably saw something along this lines. His name, the software engineer, like you mentioned. You might have seen some bolded words, some headlines, anything that might have been repeated a few times. So it's really important to make sure that your hierarchy in your resume is working for you, because the first thing that you see is going to be those larger words, as well as anything bolded and headlines. So that clear and simple organization of content helps guide your eye around. And that's the reason why we have optimized the Hardly resume into a clean template. Everything works towards what you really want to communicate within those 6 to 7 seconds. And the template that we have is customizable and rearrangeable. But why does all this matter? Why does ATS systems, why are we mentioning ATSs a few times? Keywords are really important. Nowadays, they're way more important than they were 10 years ago. In the past 5 years, almost all businesses, especially the large enterprise level businesses, are moving towards ATSs. And these basically scan your resume for specific keywords. And then we'll decide whether or not that HR director will see your resume and end up your resume is on her desk. And a lot of resume designs that people choose are not optimized for applicant tracking systems. So that means that you get that rejection email 10 minutes after you submit an application. Even if you are qualified, it doesn't necessarily mean that the ATS is reading your resume in the right way in order to indicate that you are qualified. So this is an example of what not to do on a resume. You don't want to use 2-column layouts or complicated templates, because there's a chance that the resume, the ATS system will not pick up the correct information. You don't want to sub icons for words. You want to make sure that the words are present on your resume, because it's not going to be able to read that image like a person would. So, for example, this person who wrote this resume, he has Photoshop skills, Illustrator skills. He's obviously a graphic designer, but an ATS system is going to look at this and not be able to detect that icon means Photoshop. And you want a keyword match, but you really don't want to overdo it. Even though a machine might be reading your resume first, a human's eventually going to read your resume. And if social media is the keyword that you're trying to optimize for, but you're saying social media every third word, you're not going to sound human. And you want to make sure that even though you're optimizing for a machine, you're talking to a human. And you don't want to hack keywords by making them white. I think this is actually a really smart trick, but it's also hacking the system. And if the HR director does detect that you're putting white keywords in your resume, it's just not going to start off on the right foot. I'm going to hand it over to Alon to go through the general layout.
Thanks, Allison. So the first thing I want to share is we're going to share some of the kind of foundations for a resume and best practices. And then keep in mind that you may know that you want to customize your resume a little bit differently. That is absolutely appropriate. In this day and age, there is not one right way to do a resume. So there are some things, like Allison was just sharing, don't use 2 columns, don't use icons, because that's going to interrupt systems that are looking for your resume. That said, the anatomy of a resume that I'm sharing with you here, you're welcome to customize it if you have a way that you think is going to be more appropriate for the types of roles you're looking or for how you want to represent yourself. So certainly a resume always starts out at the top with your name, your contact information, that's email and phone, your city and state. We no longer put our addresses at the top of the resume. And then there can be a link to your LinkedIn profile. You can also have a link to a portfolio, or if you have done speaking engagements and or you have published papers. So any other link to relevant type of information can happen at the top of your resume. The top section then, after your name and contact information, this is a snapshot personal brand profile. It's a summary of who you are, what kind of the arc of your career journey has been so far, and how that relates to oh, I apologize. First, it's the job title. Oh my gosh, I really went backwards there. So the job title, it's the target position you're going for. And when you are applying for a specific job, I do recommend changing the title of your resume to the actual job. So if you're looking for a senior software engineer at Google, put senior software engineer in the title. If you're going for a product marketing manager 2 at Wells Fargo, put product marketing manager 2. That way, any recruiter, hiring manager, HR personnel who opens your resume, they instantly know what this resume is about as it relates to the specific job they're hiring for. Otherwise, you can put your target general job. When someone at a company says, yes, please send me your resume, and they're not looking for a specific job, but they see, oh, that you're a director level operations manager, director level operations. So the next part of your resume, you summarize in a few sentences the core kind of strengths that you're going to be bringing, and then you have an opportunity, and you'll see in the Hardly Resume Builder, when Roger gives a demo, you highlight the core skills. Usually it's 3 hard skills and 1 or 2 soft skills that really highlight your strengths, the value you're going to bring to the job, and how it relates to the specific job you're applying for. You will see in the resume builder, in the Hardly Resume Builder that we're going to demo, you have the opportunity to put up to 10 or 15 of these key skills, and then you can show or hide the ones that you want to highlight. And this is really helpful when you're perhaps looking for jobs in more than one sector, or you have 2 core skill sets, like I'm a graphic designer, but I'm also really good at content marketing. And so when you want to position yourself, you see a graphic designer job that you're really interested in, you can call out your 3 to 5 core graphic design skills. And then when you're applying for the senior marketing content manager role, you can call out those 3 to 5 skills. It's one of the most wonderful features about Hardly's Resume Builder is that you have this ability to really customize it for the type of job or the specific job that you're going for. The next section is your work history from the most recent job to the longest. And if you go out on the internet, you will find from coaching, career coaches, career counselors, career consultants, anywhere from 10 to 20 years. Some say don't go past 10 years. Some say, oh, it's okay to go 20. I really encourage you, do what feels right to you. You cannot game another human being's mind. You want to present the most value and strength that you can bring to the job. Skills section is what comes next. It could be areas of expertise. It could be called core skills. It could be called, so you can kind of call this what you want, but especially for technical skills, if you know coding languages, create a subcategory and alphabetize your coding languages. If you know software skills, put those, again, a separate line, alphabetize them, so that anyone reading your resume can quickly find if you have the core skills they're looking for in those technical arenas. You can also list hard skills here. You might have 4 to 6, and it could be project management, business analytics, business planning, sales strategy. So depending on what you really want to highlight, either for your overall brand or for specific jobs, this skills area, areas of expertise, this is a great area not only to call out those skills, but it's also a really great place to match keywords that you were able to identify in the job post, or keywords that you know recruiters and hiring managers are going to be using for the type of roles you're looking for. The next section is your education, certifications, training. The highlight here is the certification or degree that you received. It's not the name of the institution where you received it from. So you always want to bold what it was that what you earned, the license, the degree, the certification. And then in non-bold, include where you acquired it. And you can include the year that you acquired it. You don't have to. And again, I really would say, trust what feels right to you for how you want to represent. People who are closer to my age often don't want to put that they graduated from, that they got their 4-year degree in 1978. And some people are okay with that. So it's really up to you. I do not subscribe to saying there's a rule. I really subscribe to saying what feels right to you and how do you feel comfortable and confident showing up for that interview? How do you want your resume to represent you? Do that. And then you'll see in the Hardly Resume Builder, you could also do it on your own, of course, but the Hardly Resume Builder allows you to create any custom section that you want. Some people like to put personal hobbies with the clients I've worked with. I recommend not doing that, but it's really personal. And when a client says, I really want them to know that I ski, I do ceramics, and I love dogs, that's fine. Absolutely. It's really up to you what you want to do. So with that, that's kind of the overview of the resume, how to customize it for jobs and or sectors, and how to customize it if you have more than one core area of expertise that you want to highlight for different types of jobs. Thanks.
On to the best practices of resume writing. I think, Alon, you actually covered a lot of that in the anatomy. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we go on to the specific AI resume tools?
I tailor your resume, create a powerful professional summary of yourself. And when we say that, make sure you feel good about it. Feel like it's really authentic, it represents you, and you can stand behind it. Emphasize what you delivered over what you did, and how the core stakeholders, the customer, the business, your team, were impacted by what you delivered. Organize your resume effectively. That's so important. And I want to mention on that, the brain loves white space, and about 70% of the people who view your resume will do it on a phone, a small device. And so the less information you have, the more value it's going to have, because you're helping that reader get to the core of what's most important about your value and your strengths. Highlight relevant skills, include the keywords, clear education section. Show your personality. We live in a day and age now where we certainly aren't going to talk like if we're hanging out with friends having drinks, but you can really personalize it. You know, some people put in their resume that they're really passionate about DEI. Some people put that they're really passionate about science and the breakthroughs that it's having to help people live better lives. So when we talk about show your personality, use language that feels right to you, relax it a little bit, and really humanize it. You don't have to just be a professional robot who checks off all the boxes. You get to show up a little bit how you are. Proofread it thoroughly, and then follow the common standards of, giving a lot of space. I want to mention one more best practice. I do not believe there is a rule that it should be 1 page, or it shouldn't be more than 2 pages, or I do not use any shoulds. Your resume should be the length it needs to be to communicate and showcase who you are, the value you're going to bring to the company, and what's most important to you to be successful in your career. So make your resume 1 page, 1.5 pages, 2 pages, and if you need 3 pages, that's okay. Provide value, not noise. Okay, thank you, Allison.
Oh, thank you. That was wonderful. So moving into the AI resume tools that are out there, there's about 12 out on the internet, but we hear a lot about these 3 options in particular. And then we're also going to show you Hardly's Resume Builder very soon as well. A lot of people use ChatGPT to build their resumes. It's really good at generating some ideas for you, but it's not going to put it in a specific format. It's a huge downside because, of course, giving you the content is one thing, but resume needs to be laid out nicely as well. And it's not going to write in implied first person, which is one of those standard best practices for resume writing. Teal is great at importing custom templates. So if you have a template that you'd like to use that's not necessarily on their platform, you can put your resume in that custom template. You can also connect your resume to a job in the job application trackers, which is pretty nifty. But simultaneously, it limits how many times you can generate with AI. The free version is actually quite constraining. There's only a couple times that you can click the generative AI function before it stops you. So that's a huge downside of Teal. Resi, there are plenty of templates to choose from, and the platform offers a lot of great customization. But again, it limits your AI usage pretty quickly before you can actually finish your resume. On the other side, with Hardly can auto-generate relevant skills for your job title. So once you put in, and Roger's going to show you all of this in his wonderful demo, once you put in your job title, everything else will be centered around that as you generate different sections of your resume. It will sync your resume to a specific job description. It can fix grammatical errors, of course, and confusing speech. You can shorten your resume on Hardly. And as Alon mentioned earlier, you can select and deselect certain skills to show up on a specific resume. So you might have a bank of 10 to 15 different skills that you have, but on certain job applications, you may want to only highlight 3 or 4 of those, but not delete all of the 15 that you've accumulated. So it does give you that ability to toggle on and off what is seen in a specific resume. You can refocus your resume on a specific skill. So if you are applying to a lot of jobs in a certain area, but you might be applying to jobs in a different type of industry or function, you can tell the AI on Hardly to refocus your resume on that specific skill set. And of course, it's going to generate a lot of content ideas for you on each section for your resume. And one of the wonderful things about Hardly is that you can collaborate with a coach through comments and through resume writing sessions. So the resume writing sessions are an extra paid resource, but you can go back and forth within the resume builder and comments with your coach. And you can download up to 3 times per month on the free version. And there's plenty of AI tools that you can do as well. So what can't Hardly Just Resume Builder do? And this includes any AI resume builder in general. It's not going to know you better than you know yourself. You still need to do some soul searching and figure out if things are really true for you, and the story that you want to tell about yourself. It's not going to write in your voice. You may need to tweak the AI written sections a little bit in order for it to sound like you, because you are your own unique person. It's not going to give you confidence. I can give you a pep talk. Roger can give you a pep talk. Alon can too. But the AI resume builder is not going to up your confidence. It's not going to be perfect each time. Every now and then there might be an AI hallucination. So it is important to still check your resume if it was generated by AI. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Roger to do the fun part.
Great. Thank you, Allison. Let me share my screen real quick. So here we have the main interface of the Hardly Resume Builder. On the left, you can see the resume preview, and on the right is where you edit the information on the resume. So the information on the resume preview updates in real time. So if I update my job title to, say, Senior Software Engineer, we can see that it updates. And then, as Allison and Alon mentioned, it is recommended to have a strong introduction paragraph that not only tells who you are and what your experience is, but positions you in the best way possible for whatever job you're going for. So this introduction right now, it's a little short, it's a little kind of meh, so to speak. And so we are going to generate a new one. And so what this does is it looks through your resume, it pulls out all of the important stuff, all the things that it feels like should be front and center, and generates a brand new introduction paragraph. So it says that I am both a COO and full stack developer. I have experience in project management, product development. I can work in team-based and individual settings. It gives a little preview of my technical skills and my educational background. So I'd say that's a pretty well-rounded intro paragraph. And also, as mentioned, you do want to go in there afterwards to make sure that it is in your voice and that it sounds like you, because as Allison mentioned, AI does not know who you are as a person. So after that, we want to generate some key skills up here to put forward the skills that you want to show off the most. And so right now I don't have any, but using the AI, I can generate those, and we'll just go ahead and generate 5. So how many sentences do you recommend for the intro or summary? That's a very good question. You don't want it to be too long because that is just taking up real estate on your resume. 5 to 6 is probably the upper limit, but really it's just however many you need to get across all that you want. As I mentioned, for me, I want to get across that I'm both skilled in technical and managerial. Oh yes, Alon.
It was an accident click. I'm going to respond to the chat. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're fine. But yeah, good question. So yeah, going back to the key skills, I want to generate some key skills to put forward. So again, it's going over my resume and pulling out the things that I am best at. And Alon recommended 2 to 3 hard skills and 1 to 3 soft skills. So we got project management, full stack development, app development, API implementation. So I think these are a pretty good set of skills. Also, maybe I am going for a more technical role. And so while project management is a good skill to have, maybe I want to hide that just so it's not taking up space. So you do have that ability to hide and show certain skills depending on whatever job you are going for. So these key skills are great. They show your strengths and what you really want to get across. But it is also good to have, the breadth of your skills listed as well. Right now, I do not have that, but you might be seeing a pattern here. Luckily, with AI, I can generate a list of skills. It'll look at my resume, it'll separate them into categories, and it'll pull those skills out. So it decided to do professional skills and technical skills. It pulled out the things that I am most good at, or the things that I mentioned on my resume. And so I think I'll go ahead and use that. And that's an important section to get past the ATS, because you want to make sure that the keywords that are in the job description that you're going for are on your resume and in that skills section. Speaking of which, one of the benefits of the Hardly Resume Builder is that you can match the resume to a job description. So in order to do that, you'll go over here to the Match to Job Description tab. And here you can paste in some job listing information, which I'm going to go get real quick. This is just kind of a basic, sort of catch-all job listing. I think it was for like Google or something. And so I'm going to save that job listing. Don't worry, Allison, I'm not applying for a job at Google. And so then when I come in here to generate the introduction, it'll actually look at that job listing and it'll pepper in keywords and phrases from that job listing to make sure that my intro will get through the ATS. So it's bringing in things like .NET, Java, Angular. I have some experience with that. Some things I don't have experience with, such as .NET. So again, be sure to go in there and make sure that whatever the AI is putting out is true. So we also mentioned that one of our favorite parts of the Hardly Resume Builder is collaboration. So my career coach, Alon, who was in the room with us, has left me a comment on my introduction. So I can go ahead and click on that. And so he's saying this resume looks great, but he's also giving me some tips. And so I can do the same. I can reply. I can even comment on other sections as well. So if I wanted to comment on, a key skill and say, does this look good? Then Alon will see that and he can comment on it as well. So once you're happy with your resume, you can go ahead and download it. You can download your resume as a PDF, or if you are a pro member, you can download it as a PDF or a Word doc. So that'll give you the ability to edit it more on your own and kind of fine tune it to your liking. And you can also duplicate your resume. So this would be useful for when you're applying to a bunch of different jobs and you want to have the same resume, but only changed a little bit. Maybe you change the job title that you're going for, or something like that. So you'll want to duplicate the resume, make those changes, and then eventually when Hardly has their job application tracker, you can track those jobs you've applied to and which resumes you have used.
And when is that going to be rolling out, Roger? I know you're working on it right now.
Yes, in the next few weeks. Thank you, Allison. And with that, I will pass it back to Allison. That is the Hardly Resume Builder.
Great. So we'd love to hear any specific questions that you have about the Resume Builder. Roger, if you want to keep it up, just so we can answer those questions. If there's any questions that you have in general around looking for a job, dealing with ATS systems, this is your time to ask them, but I can keep talking about Hardly and the innovations that we have coming down the pipeline while you're thinking of questions that you might want to have answered. So Roger mentioned the job application tracker. I know I mentioned when I was talking about Teal that you can tag certain job descriptions and job applications to resumes. We're also doing that on Hardly. We're building out our job application tracker to connect with our resume tool. But not only that, a lot of the tools and assessments that we have on Hardly are going to be interconnected with the Resume Builder. So it's going to become stronger and stronger the more time you spend taking a work style assessment or an interest profiler. All of those important assessment results will factor into your suggestions on the Hardly Resume Builder.